Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our science unit, and we're going to be focusing on rainy days and how they're like nature's lullabies. They help put you to sleep.
And we're saying that rainy days are like nature's lullabies.
Right.
Lullaby, go to sleep. Da-da-da-da-da-da. That's what a lullaby is, by the way. So yeah, rainy days can be quite pleasant.
A lot of these really familiar tunes are actually old classical pieces of music. That's Brahms, by the way. I didn't know that it was an old classical piece of music until I started singing and then discovered, oh, this is a song that was written a long time ago. Yeah. Sometimes rain is a pain. For me, it is. I don't ride a scooter or a bicycle. But even when you're trying to get on the bus, you get wet because you have to close your umbrella, get on the bus, and you always get rained on that way. So we're going to talk about the good points of rain, the advantages, the good things, the benefits of rain. But first, we're going to read through today's lesson. There is something distinctly soothing about spending a rainy afternoon indoors, gazing out the window as its glass becomes spotted with rolling raindrops. For many people, just the sound of a gentle rain is like a lullaby that can send them off to sleep. Have you ever wondered why this happens, though? There is actually some fascinating science linking rainy days to natural sleepiness. The most obvious factor behind rainy day tiredness is a reduction in sunlight, which would otherwise trigger changes in our body's internal clock. Sunlight stops us from producing melatonin, a hormone that contributes to sleepiness, and spurs production of serotonin, a hormone that regulates mood, alertness, and many other functions. Blocking this hormonal change means our bodies become stuck on night mode, making it more difficult to be active. The air on rainy days is also much heavier and more humid than average, causing our bodies to spend more energy on maintaining equilibrium. This can contribute to a feeling of tiredness as well. Rain also affects our senses in other ways. The earthy smell of rain results from a combination of oils secreted by plants and a chemical produced by soil bacteria. Only when this natural mixture is disturbed by rainfall does it rise into the air, creating an irresistibly calming scent. The sound of rain, too, falls into a category of background noise that naturally soothes us, known as pink noise. Like white noise, pink noise generates all frequencies of sound, but high-frequency sounds are softer. This category of noise is shown to lower brain activity and improve sleep quality. The next time you find yourself at home on a rainy day, take some time to appreciate the sight, smell, and sound of nature's own lullaby. And don't be ashamed to indulge in a little nap.
It's time for us to explain the contents of our lesson, just in case there are some things you're not quite sure about. And the title here is not actually a question, okay? If it were a question, it would go, why are rainy days like nature's lullabies? That's the question, but the answer is, well, we're going to tell you why rainy days are like nature's lullabies. This article is going to give us the answer to that question. So yeah, why are they like that? And I did give you an example of a lullaby at the beginning of our program. That's just a song to help babies fall asleep. The Brahms Lullaby is probably the most popular one. And there is something distinctly soothing about spending a rainy afternoon indoors, gazing out the window as its glass becomes spotted with rolling raindrops. Now, this is nice if it's, say, a Saturday or a Sunday where you don't have to go out and go to work and fight the rain. Yes, it'd be nice if you could spend a nice, relaxing afternoon indoors. And yes, when you listen to the rain and you don't have to go out, it's very soothing, which means very relaxing. When you listen to it, it makes you feel relaxed and you feel happy and you think life is a great thing, and it's distinctly soothing. There are many things that are soothing, like the sound of wind through the trees, or waves at the ocean, or the sounds of birds chirping in the trees. But this one is distinctly soothing. It's unique. It's special. Rainy afternoons are very, very unique and special when compared to other things that are soothing.
You're also gazing out the window as its glass, the window's glass, becomes spotted with rolling raindrops. Yeah, if you're gazing out the window or gazing at anything, you're usually in a pretty relaxed mood and you're looking at something. Maybe you're thinking about life, but if you're gazing, you're usually very relaxed and calm and you're looking for a long length of time. So a long time you're looking at something, gazing at the clouds, gazing out the window. Sounds like somebody doesn't have a very busy life.
Be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
This sounds really nice, yeah. So for many people, just the sound of a gentle rain is like a lullaby. Yeah, if it's pouring outside, it's not as relaxing. Yeah, just a gentle rain is very relaxing. I can see why it puts people to sleep. So it is like a lullaby. It can send people off to sleep or off to slumberland. Have you ever wondered why this happens, though? No, I haven't. And I found this article very interesting because it tells us the science behind why gentle rain can make us feel sleepy and want to take a nap.
Yep, there is some science behind it. Just like earlier this year, someone posted some information about why it's so quiet when snow falls. You've probably experienced that before if you're outside walking when the snow is falling. Everything is especially quiet then. There is some science to that, but because it doesn't snow so much here in Taiwan, I won't spend so much time talking about that. But it does rain a lot in Taiwan.
Yes, it does.
And some people actually like the sound of the rain. And why is that? Let's talk about the actual science here. The most obvious factor behind rainy day tiredness is a reduction in sunlight, which would otherwise trigger changes in our body's internal clock. So, yes, we're talking about the feeling of being tired, and that's tiredness. Yes, when it rains, we kind of feel more tired than usual. The main reason is because there is a reduction in sunlight. Reduction here is the noun form of the verb to reduce. That just means you lower the amount of something.
Yeah, and this next word, trigger, is also a vocabulary word. But it's a verb here, although it can be used as a noun. So if it's a verb, it just means it causes something to happen or exist or even start. So sometimes someone's laugh will trigger a memory in my mind. Or better yet, sometimes if I smell a particular scent, it will trigger a memory. You know, I'll think back to another time in my life where I had a similar smell around me, and I'll start thinking about that. Or sometimes, let's see, a sound can trigger a memory. For example, there's a particular kind of bird here in Taiwan that I grew up with. But we would only hear this bird in the summer in Arizona, and it would be very hot. I'd be outside working in at my dad's office building. I'd be doing the yard work out there, and we'd hear that particular bird. So when I hear it here in Taiwan, I immediately think back to when I was a teenager working outside in the hot sun.
Yep, a sound can trigger memories, a smell can trigger memories. And so this sunlight would trigger changes in our body's internal clock, but because it's kind of darker on rainy days, it kind of changes our internal clock, and sunlight stops us from producing melatonin, a hormone that contributes to sleepiness and spurs production of serotonin, which is a hormone that regulates mood, alertness, and many other functions. So, yes, indeed, the sunlight will stop us producing melatonin. So if it's a sunny day, then the hormone that makes us tired won't be there, and therefore we won't feel tired.
Yeah, some people actually buy melatonin to take it to help them to go to sleep at night. It should be a natural thing that our body produces, but sometimes people have a hard time getting to sleep and buy extra melatonin to go to sleep. Now, this other hormone that Tom mentioned, serotonin, that's a good hormone that usually makes you feel more alert and happy, positive, things like that. So here it says this hormone that can regulate mood, how happy you are, alertness, how awake you feel, and other functions. Now, if you spur production or spur something, again, spur here is used as a verb, although it's also a noun. If you know horses, and if you ride horses, you know that a lot of cowboys would wear spurs on their boots that are very sharp, and they'd hit the sides of horses to get them to gallop or move forward. But here, if you spur something, it just means you start something. You start the process of something moving. And again, it comes from those spurs that cowboys had on their boots. I still think they do put spurs on cowboy boots occasionally.
Yeah, but again, this is a verb, and basically it means the same thing as trigger. It starts production of serotonin, and that is a hormone that regulates our mood, it regulates our alertness, and many other functions. So yeah, when it rains, you get one hormone, but not the other. And when it's sunny, you get the other hormone, but not the first one. So all of this affects our moods on a rainy day and on a sunny day as well. It's kind of complicated, but there's the science to it. And that brings us to the midway point in our lesson. Let's take a break now and listen to our Chinese teacher.
大家好，我是派老师。炎炎的夏日很难入睡吧？但是大家有没有过这样的经验？如果户外滴滴答答的在下雨，反而很容易睡着，而且在下雨的午后睡完午觉，醒来之后特别神清气爽。这种特别容易入眠的感受，背后其实也有科学的解释。我们做完这个篇章结构的练习，同时也就了解这个生理反应运作的道理咯。在开始解题之前，老师想跟大家强调，篇章结构最重要的就是回填的句子要和前后文连贯，在文章意思上面呢，概念上要承先启后，请大家谨记前后连贯、文意通顺这8字真言，秉持这个原则答题，相信任何难题都能迎刃而解。好，我们现在看到第一题前一句。For many people, just the sound of a gentle rain is like a lullaby that can send them off to sleep. 对很多人来说，雨声就像催眠曲。第一题空格后面的句子是 There is actually some fascinating science linking rainy days to natural sleepiness. 实际上，下雨天和想睡觉是有科学关联的。根据前后两句，可以推测第一题答案应该是 D. Have you ever wondered why this happens though? 但你有没有想过，为什么会发生这个想睡觉的生理反应呢？答案选 D.
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, welcome back. We're talking about rainy days and how they're like nature's lullabies, or they put us to sleep, and why that's the case. We were talking about the science behind this before our break, and we know that because rainy days produce less sunlight, it means we've got more melatonin in our body than normal, so we kind of feel sleepy. Sunlight actually stops our body from producing melatonin and helps produce more of the serotonin, which actually makes you happier, makes you feel awake, and helps you get a lot of work done. So people typically like serotonin. If you are a runner or love to exercise, you know that after you're finished exercising, you usually feel better. That's because of serotonin. Serotonin picks up your bad mood, or it lifts your bad mood. Now, if you are blocking this hormonal change, it means our bodies become stuck on night mode. It's like our bodies can't tell that it's daytime and that we need to be active. Instead, our bodies kind of feel like, oh, isn't it about time to go to sleep? We just feel a lot more tired because there's not as much sun. Now, the air on rainy days is also much heavier and more humid than average. I could tell you that. It's especially humid here in Taiwan. The air is always humid in Taiwan for me. Because I grew up in a desert area where humidity is very low. But on rainy days, wow, it's like it's hard to breathe. The air is so heavy.
I guess I'm used to that because I'm from a fairly humid place. But yeah, for people from dry places, it might be difficult to breathe on rainy days.
Yeah.
So yeah, the air is much heavier. It's more humid than average. And that causes our bodies to spend more energy on maintaining equilibrium. So that is a state of balance there. Opposing forces are kind of balanced there, okay? So yes, you're not too tired. You have enough energy. You don't have too much energy, but you don't have too little either. You have just the right amount. Therefore, you have achieved equilibrium.
Yeah, so you feel like your body's in balance, as Tom said. So this can contribute to a feeling of tiredness as well. So moving on to the next paragraph, it says rain also affects our senses in other ways. They're talking about our 5 senses that we have, our smell, taste, sight, feeling, and what's the other one?
What
touch.
Sight, feeling, touch?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are our senses. So how does rain affect our senses? Well, the earthy smell of rain results from a combination of oils that are secreted by plants. Secreted here kind of looks like secret, right? But if it's a verb, guys, to secrete means for something to come out. Usually we talk about how when we're working out and we're sweating a lot, sweat will be secreted from our pores or come out from our pores. So here we've got oils that are coming from plants and a chemical produced by soil bacteria. It's got that smell of dirt in the air. That's I think what they're trying to say here.
Right, so you've got some oils from plants and you've got some chemicals produced by bacteria, or at least the bacteria in soil. So only when this natural mixture is disturbed by rainfall does it rise into the air. In other words, when it rains, then you get these oils coming out of plants and you get this chemical produced from soil bacteria. You can only get that when it rains. And that creates an irresistibly calming scent. A scent is an aroma, a smell, and in this particular case, it is quite pleasant. It is very calming. And yes, that makes a lot of sense. There is kind of a very nice smell in the air when it rains.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why.
Yeah, in my particular hometown, when it rains, it smells delicious. Because we have a plant called chaparral that only grows in the desert. And when it's wet, oh my gosh, it smells like heaven. Scent, guys, please be aware that scent is typically used in a positive way. If something smells horrible, we use the word odor. Typically, odor, O-D-O-R. But scent is usually a word that we use when something smells good, like perfume, or something that's cooking in the kitchen. So the sound of rain, too, falls into a category of background noise that naturally soothes us, makes us feel more calm instead of stressed out, and that is known as pink noise, which I had never heard of until today. We all know what white noise is. It's that sound where you kind of are listening to lots of static. As you turn your radio dial, if you're between stations, it'll have that sound. That's white noise.
Exactly. So now we've got this term pink noise, and I don't think we have the term black noise. Noise is just noise, okay? Like the sound of hundreds of scooters zooming past you as you're going down Jilonglu during rush hour. That's just noise, okay? But as Stephanie described there, if you turn on your radio and tune it between stations and you just get that sound, that is white rain. But now we've got
white
something...
noise.
I'm sorry, yes. White rain is something else. White noise. Okay, white noise. And sometimes people use that to help them study. It kind of makes the sound even all around. I think you said before the program that you often use white noise to help you sleep at night.
Yeah, I did in New York because it was so noisy.
Oh, so you don't need it here in Taiwan, huh?
I have better neighbors.
Okay, very good. You had noisy neighbors in New York. I guess I can imagine that. But now we've got this thing called pink noise. And what is pink noise? Well, like white noise, pink noise generates all frequencies of sound, but high frequency sounds are softer. So yes, white noise gives you all the sounds from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz and maybe beyond. And in this particular case, in pink noise, you get the high sounds, the high frequencies, but they're softer.
Now, I know that most of our listeners, when they hear this word frequency, they think maybe that's how often something occurs, right? The rate of something, how often that occurs. But here, we're talking about a frequency of sound, and that's very different. That's a rate at which a vibration occurs, and that's kind of like a wave of sound. That's a frequency. High frequencies, it's very hard for older people to hear those, but dogs especially can hear higher frequencies, and so can younger people, I just learned. Here, this pink noise gets rid of that high frequency, so it's more relaxing than, say, white noise.
And rain is an example of pink noise. And this category of noise is shown to lower brain activity and improve sleep quality.
Cool.
Hence, rainy days are relaxing and you feel like sleeping. So here's the final paragraph for today. It says, the next time you find yourself at home on a rainy day, take some time to appreciate the sight, smell, and sound of nature's own lullaby. Yes, if you can stay home on a rainy day, that would be nice. Even if you have to ride your bicycle or your scooter in the pouring rain, you can still remind yourself that, the rain is actually quite pleasant if you don't have to, keep yourself dry. And don't be ashamed to indulge in a little nap. To indulge just means to treat yourself to something nice. In this case, indulge yourself with a nap. You can indulge yourself with ice cream or maybe a fun time at the amusement park or whatever.
I like to indulge myself in some shopping sometimes. Or maybe you love chocolate or chocolate ice cream and you can't eat it every day because you'd get fat. So you indulge yourself sometimes. Here, we're saying you can indulge in a little nap every once in a while. Okay, guys, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher one more time, and then we'll be back to wrap it up.
第二题前一句 Sunlight stops us from producing melatonin. 阳光让我们停止产生褪黑激素。褪黑激素是一种荷尔蒙，会让人想睡觉，而且阳光还会促进血清素 Serotonin 的形成，而血清素也是一种荷尔蒙，会调节我们的心情，让我们保持清醒。由此可知，下雨天乌云密布，阻挡了阳光，也影响了我们体内的荷尔蒙状态。因此，我们可以推测第二题选 A。Blocking this hormonal change means our bodies become stuck on night mode, making it more difficult to be active. 荷尔蒙的转换受到了阻碍，意味着我们的身体会停顿在夜间模式，让我们比较难以保持活力。看到第三题所在的第三段主题句说 Rain also affects our senses in other ways. 下雨对我们各个不同的感官也会产生影响。接着就从嗅觉开始说明起。第3题空格的前一句，也就是本段第2句 The earthly smell of rain results from combination of oils secreted by plants and a chemical produced by soil bacteria. 雨中泥土味的来源是植物油脂混合了土壤细菌的化学物质，进而散发出气味。因此，我们第3题选 C. Only when this natural mixture is disturbed by rainfall does it rise into the air, creating an irresistible and calming scent. 这个自然的混合只有在受到了降雨干扰，才会上升到空气中，产生令人难以抗拒的镇定气味。这个句子是 only 这个副词放在句首的倒装句，比较复杂一点。原本的句型是 This natural mixture rises into the air only when it is disturbed by rainfall, which creates an irresistible and calming scent. 紧接着是下雨对听觉感官的影响。第3题后面的句子 The sound of rain too falls into the category of background noise that naturally soothes us, known as pink noise. 雨声也可归类为让人舒缓的背景噪音，称之为粉红噪音。后面就是第4题了。既然前面提到了粉红噪音，接着继续解释粉红噪音到底是什么频率的声音，合情合理，符合解题原则8字真言，前后连贯，文意通顺。因此，请看到第4题。第4题我们选 B. Like white noise, pink noise generates all frequencies of sound. The high frequency sounds are softer. 好，这句选项的中文意思呢，是粉红噪音跟白色噪音都一样，它们都有各种频率的声音，不过高频的部分听起来会更加的柔和。好，以上是我们针对这个篇章结构这个4题里面所做的讲解，请同学要注意，在做篇章结构的时候，最重要的就是要把握我们答题的8字真言这个原则，前后要连贯，文意要通顺。谢谢大家。
That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and please join us again next time for another edition of our program. Hey, maybe you can listen to us on a rainy day, but that's no excuse to fall asleep during our lesson.
No.
From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.